we're going to start a series right now on the 7 habits of highly effective people. 7 habits of highly effective people, and we're going to be going through this in the next few weeks. I don't know, this is supposed to take probably like 10 weeks, but let's see how far we go, and let's just begin from part 1 to all through this month into next month, and then we'll see how far we are going to go. So this series is very, very important. You know that SBLS is all about teaching you success, business, and leadership principles that will help you to become an ambassador in the marketplace. God is raising us as salt and as light to go out there and shine for him, and we need to ensure that we are equipped to represent him well as his ambassador. So this series is coming from the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by the world famous renowned author, the late Stephen R. Covey. And it's a book that is very, very important for anyone that wants to do well in life. It's powerful lessons in personal change. So if you don't have this book, I will advise that you get a copy of the book. I've read this book many, many times in my life, and I've had to revisit it again this year just to go through it again. And the first time I read it over 2 decades ago, it was a major, major transformational, book that really helped shape a lot of things in my own life, and I've gone on to apply the things I've learned consistently over time. And I believe very strongly that this book will be a major guide for any of us that really want to become successful, especially in the area of personal transformation and leadership. It's very, very important. Now, this is not the only book I want to recommend to you. I want to recommend 3 books by Stephen Covey. After writing the 7 habits, he wrote the 8th habit. So this is the 7 habits of highly effective people. And then he wrote this book called the 8th habit. This From Effectiveness to Greatness. From effectiveness to greatness. Now, it's, in fact, I don't know what to say, but you see, these books are just phenomenal. When I read this book, I'm like, so many times people see us and they see a lot of things that go on in our lives. We are products of books. We are product of books. Now, this is the next one. It's called The Third Alternative, Solving Life's Most Difficult Problem. This one is very powerful. And I'm telling you, so if you have never read any of these books, even though my focus will be on the 7 habits of highly effective people, I will also recommend that you get what I call the Covey collection. So get this one, the 8 habits, get the Third Alternative, and then the 7 habits has been released in many, many, many levels. So we have the 7 habits of highly effective people. We have the 7 habits of highly effective family. We have principle-centered leadership. We have First Things First, and we have Living the 7 Habits. All these are books written by Stephen Covey. So make sure you get the copies of the book for your personal library. It will go a long way in helping you. So let's look at some foundational facts as we begin this series. Number 1, this series is about a continuous process of clarifying your values. It means that you have value. But you see, when you continue to go through life, you realize that there will be a lot of things that will question your value, contend with your value, and sometimes you have to re-examine your values. So this book will help you to be able to do that continual, re-evaluation, continual clarification. Because sometimes the value you hold on to may be right to you, but they are wrong to the world. And the world may be wrong and you are right. But you feel like a fish out of water, or you feel like somebody that is left alone in the midst of a crowd of disapproval. Sometimes the values that is right to you may actually be right at a point, but wrong at another point in your life. So you need to continually learn, unlearn, and relearn. And that's one of the things that the 7 habits and this series will help you to be able to know how to do. Number 2, it will help you to align your life with timeless principles. It will help you to align your life with timeless principles. I've said it, versatile. Bears repetition, but it's very, very important. Principles are universal. Principles are universal, but the application of those principles are personal, contextual, and geographical. You can't fight principle. 1 + 1 = 2. So shall it be forever and ever. We can never be too sophisticated for that. We can never be so modernized that 1 + 1 is no more 1. BOY = boy. No matter what happens, don't tell me a new revelation is a new generation. You know, that's old school. There is no old school to principle. BOY is boy forever. GIRL is girl forever. So there are some things that will never change. So that's what this series will also help you to do, so that you will not be arguing with things that are, like I say sometimes, if a fish falls in love with a bird, where will you live? It's a useless love. So many things that people are doing, you may be thinking you are okay, you are sincere, but you are sincerely wrong. So this series will now help you to know how to align your life to principles that cannot change, so that you know that you are the one that will change you. If you refuse to change, you are just going to remain the same. Then we need to understand that our character is a collection of our habits. And our habits have a powerful role to play in our lives. So one of the things that this series will also do is to help you to be able to understand the power of your character, the power of your habits, and the power you have to change things in your life and to determine the outcomes of things in your life. Because, especially when we go from this religious route, God is in control. Whatever will be, will be. We come up with all these funny mindsets that are really not going to help us achieve God's purpose for our lives. Because you need to understand that God is not in control of what he has given you power to control. And God will not do for you what he has empowered you to do for yourself. So all these are things that we need to understand, and this series will help us to be able to do that. So let's look at this issue of our habits. Now, when you talk of your habits, there are 3 things that come up in your habits. Number 1 is knowledge. In order for you to say, this is my habit, this is who I am, this is who I am, accept me for who I am, how can we accept you for who you are when you are dysfunctional? So you need to have knowledge. This allows you to know what to do. So you know who you are, you know what to do. But the second aspect of your habit is your skill. This gives you the ability to know how to do what needs to be done. And then the third aspect of your habit is your desire. This gives you the motivation to do it. So you don't just know who you are and what you are supposed to do. You must know what to do to ensure that you execute, and then you must have the desire to change. Like we have said over and over again, you cannot teach a man anything except you help him to discover it within himself. No matter how much. Imagine, chickens have wings, birds have wings, but chicken cannot fly. Why? Wings does not equal to flight if there is no DNA and desire on the inside to fly. I believe I can fly. You cannot fly. So whether you believe it or not, it's not about what you believe. It's about what you have been programmed and destined to operate in. So you find out that when it comes to the world that you and I live in, we must realize that we have to be motivated. And you have to be self-motivated and make up your mind that I refuse to remain the same way that I am. So let's look at some foundational facts as we move on. Just spending the whole of today just to lay foundation, and then we'll now begin to move on from there. Now, foundational facts. There's what we call the P to PC balance, and you see it in the book. How to be effective over the short term and over the long run. The effectiveness, how to become personally effective. So now, the P/PC balance is this. Our effectiveness in life is a function of the balance between our production and our production capability. So you see, that's the P to PC balance. Production and production capability. Now, let's say, for instance, when you look at the way he put it, he brought up the story of the goose versus the golden egg, and then the customer versus the employer. Now, listen, we have the goose. The goose lays the golden egg. But now you need to understand that the goose is the one that produces the egg. But if you now think that because you are smart, instead of you to focus on making sure that the goose is healthy to continue to produce the egg, you now want to kill the goose because of greed. Say, let me kill the goose so that I can collect all the egg from inside. not knowing that by killing the goose, there will be no egg to collect on the inside. That's what many people do. They kill the goose. Why? Because they think that killing the goose will produce all the egg at once. But in life, you have to go through process, and you have to be willing to submit to the process that life brings. So, and the same thing goes on with customer and employee. So you need to understand that an employee is in a company. That employee has a job. And that employee needs to understand that the only way his or her job can be secured is that the customer is happy, and is that the customer keeps coming. So imagine an employee that is driving away customer, fighting customer, disrespecting customer, and customers are not coming, money is not coming, and the same employee is going to the employer and saying, increase my salary. How? So you need to understand that your production versus your production capability is what will determine whether you're going to continue on the long run. If your production capability does not increase, your production capability continues to dwindle, you are not going to be able to produce the kind of result that you want to produce. It's not going to work. So our paradigms, our mindset affect us in more ways than we can ever comprehend. They are the maps through which we see the world. Now, listen, I'm going to take us through some things just to help us understand paradigm. Now, many of us today know about the Google map. But you see, before now, even if you go to some countries now, you have these maps. Now, so when you go to a particular country, a particular state, you can get a map of that city, and then with the map of the city, you can know how to move around, which is what has become, Google Map and Maps and Waze app and all those stuff now. So now, when you have the map can now tell you, oh, if you go straight on this left side, this street, that street. So you look at that. Now, please listen. I am now in Lagos, Nigeria. There is a map of Lagos. Someone else is in New York. There is a map of New York. Someone else is in Singapore. There is a map in Singapore. Question: if you are in Lagos and you carry the map of New York and you expect to use the map of New York to guide yourself into a destination in Lagos, will it ever happen? Never. That's what your mindset is. When you have the wrong mindset, you can never arrive at the right destination. So your mindset determines a lot of things about your life. So a lot of people, they have the wrong kind of mindset and they're expecting to arrive at a right destination. It's not going to happen. And that is why series like this will help you to be able to work on your mindset. So let's look at, few case studies just to help you see some things. And then we'll move on from there. Let's look at, just to help our mindset. Look at this picture. Look at this picture. Now, when you look at the picture, what do you see? Do you see an old woman or do you see a young lady? Let's go to the next slide and look at the picture. The next slide. So please look at this picture. So everybody look at this picture now. What do you see when you look at this picture? Look very well. Do you see an old woman or do you see a young lady? Look very well. So, what do you see? Tell your neighbor. Oh yeah, what do you see? Oh yeah, what are you? What are you seeing? You, yeah, you. Tell your neighbor. Let me ask your neighbor. What are you seeing? So, if you are seeing an old woman, or you are seeing a young lady, because me, I can see both old woman and I can see young lady. But you see, some people will only see old woman. They will never see the young lady. Some people will only see the young lady. They will never see the old woman. So, I don't know if we can project it to this middle, if it's possible, so that I can show you the old woman and show you the young lady. Because now, some people are not seeing, all this what we are talking, they're like, I can't even see what I so let's look at it now. So, let me use this one because of time. So, if you look at this, can you see the old woman now? This is the old woman's nose. This is the old woman's mouth. And this is the old woman's chin. So this is the chin. This is the mouth. This is the nose. And that's the old woman. So the old woman is bending her head. This is the eyes of the old woman. This is the nose of the old woman. This is the lips, and that's the chin. Can you see? You see? Now this is the young lady now. The young lady is facing that side. So this is the eyes of the young lady. This is the ear of the young lady. This is the neck of the young lady. So can you see now? So that's young lady looking at that side. So look very well. Can you see the young lady now like a bride with a veil looking at that side? These are eyes and nose. These are ears. So you can see. So now what have we done now? Paradigm, mind. So two people can be in the same place based on their mindset. One person will see old lady. Another person will see young girl. They are both right because there is an old lady and there is a young girl there, and they'll begin to fight. No, it's not an old lady. Oh, look, listen, in this world, what you see is what you get. What you see determines what you attract. Let me show you another one. Let's go to this one. Now, let's see how far, camera guys. Now, this is, if you look at that now, you can see that there is M. So if you are looking at it from here, you see M. But you see, this guy that is up here, is not seeing M. He's seeing W. Because he's looking from the top. This guy that is here, this guy is looking from the side. He's seeing E. So if you ask this guy now, what is that? He will say E. This one that is here is seeing M. This one that is here is seeing 3. This one is seeing 3. So this one is seeing number 3. That one is seeing letter E. This one is seeing W. This one is seeing M. Look at it now. I have three here. So now if you look at it from this way now, what do you see? M. If I turn this paper this way now, what do you see? W. If I turn this paper this way, you see E or 3. If I turn it this way, you see E or 3, depending on where you're looking at. These are all paradigms, perception. Paradigms and perception. Because many times, a lot of us are so convinced that we are right. We are so convinced that we're on the right track. We are so convinced that we know it all. We are doing the right thing. Every other person is wrong. But it's all about your perception. It's all about your perspective. So in life, you need to understand that there are many things that you think you know that you don't really know. There are many things you think are okay that are not really okay. And it is very, very important for you as an individual to know how to balance all these things. And let's look at a case study that was revealed in the book. Not really a case study, just shared the story. And when I read the book the first time, over almost 25 years ago, I can't remember. It's been definitely about 25 years ago. It's been a while. This book should be, let me even check. This book should be in the, in the 90s. Let's check. I've read this book like 20-something years ago. Where is the... 1989. You see? First published in 1989. Yeah. Because I know I read this book before year 2000. So it's over 20, almost 27 or 20. So I've read this book well before, this church will be like, 29 years. Yeah, I've read this book a very long time ago. And this subway story was one of the first things that shook me. I said, wow, this life, don't judge anybody, don't judge things. So, and the story of a man that was coming back, he was in the train, in the subway with his children. And it was in the morning. They had gone, all night in the hospital. So they were going back, and then people were going to work. So you can imagine that morning, rush hour, everybody's going to the office, everybody's reading newspapers. Some people are trying to finish up some work. Everybody's just focused on getting to work. And then the student was just making noise, jumping, screaming everywhere. And the man just kept quiet and was just quiet there, doing nothing to control the children, doing nothing to tell them to stop. He was just there, like someone that is lost in thoughts. And people were just looking at him, wondering what kind of irresponsible man is this? You can't even control your children. Your children are just there, making noise. We are going to work. And the guy was just, after a while, somebody couldn't take it. He said, excuse me, sir, can you please control your children? They are disturbing us. You are just there, quiet, saying nothing. Can't you see they are disturbing us? The man lifted up. He said, "So I'm so sorry. We've been in the hospital all night. My wife just died. We prayed. We expected that she died, and they have not been able to understand that their mother is now gone. So I think that's just their own way of coping." The very minute he said, "My wife just died. We're in the hospital all night." Everybody just, oh, no, children, continue to play. Keep playing. God is in control. It is well with you. Now, what change? The children, you are not the one telling them keep playing. Perception. Perspective. Their perspective changed because they now have another information that has now been introduced into the equation to help them to see things differently. You come to church, you don't know what people are going through. You are a leader, you don't know what people are going through. And then you don't fact. That's what emotional intelligence is all about. We did the emotional intelligence last month. It's being able to factor all these things and to be able to not just know how to manage your own emotions, but the emotion of other people, and to be able to put all these things in perspective. So, in order for us to be able to do well as we want to move on in this journey, our emotional bank account status plays a major role in our relational destiny. Our emotional bank account status plays a major role in our relational destiny. So, few things that you need to look into that will help you. Number one, be kind. Be a kind person. Be a kind person. You need to be kind-hearted. Number two, be honest. You must be an honest person. Say it the way it is and give people the honest truth. Don't package things for people and make them believe all is well when it's not well. Don't give people false hope and lead people wrongly or lead people on without honesty. Be honest. Number three, be loyal. Be a loyal person. Loyalty is very, very important. A lot of people don't understand loyalty. And then sometimes you see all kinds of things go viral and you begin to wonder, okay, this one will be in one group, another will be in another group. And then when you now sit down and you get the full gist, you get the full detail, you suddenly realize that, wow. Because you need to understand that in this world, when you hold on to the right kind of values, you are a kind person. I'm going to be kind to everybody, even if I'm going to disagree with you, I can disagree without being disagreeable. I can say no without being insultive. I can say I'm not. There is a way. Even when we are fighting, we fight fair. You don't fight with the fight of let's scatter and dabaru everything. Be honest with people. Be loyal. Number four, be a promise keeper. When you make a promise, keep to your promise. When you make a promise, keep to your promise. Don't make promises you cannot keep. And then you need to manage role expectations. What are your expectations? And, last year we did a series on the new rules of love. And as I've gone around the world, I was in Cameroon just 2 weeks ago or thereabouts. I was in Australia about 2 months ago. As I go around the world, I'm seeing a lot of things that we need to change. And that's one of the reasons why I did the series last year. Because you see, what are your expectations of the different roles that you play and the different roles that people play in your life? Because many of us, we don't know how to manage the expectations we have. Who is a father to you? Who is a mother to you? Who is a son to you? Who is a husband to you? Who is a wife to you? What are your expectations? So when you say you want to marry a wife, what is your definition of wife and what is your expectation of wife? When you say you want to marry a husband, what is your definition of husband and what is your expectation of husband? Because those things matter. Because you see a lot of stories out there now. Oh no, he's my man. If he doesn't have money, in fact, if we're in the talking stage, by the time he talks in the morning, by the evening, if he has not dropped 1 million, I delete him, I block him. Poor, wretched village people that if you gather their father, mother, brother, gather the whole family together, they never see 1 million. They will say that somebody should come and drop 1 million. What your father cannot do, you want one man to come and take care of all your family responsibility. Funny side of people in the world. Why? It's because of expectation, because they have been trained to believe that the man should be a provider. A man should be a provider. And then we come up with all kinds of things. And then you see a lot of people, they want to keep giving birth to children. How do you give birth to 5 children? So, no, me, I love children. I love children. You love children. There are many children out there that you can adopt. There are many children that are in orphanages that you can go and adopt. You love children. You want to take a woman through. She has first child CS, second child CS. You see one impregnate the woman. Why? You must give birth to 5. That's the agreement. I love children. I married you for children. Is that the purpose of marriage? Somebody is your boss. Does it make him your sponsor? Does it make him your source? And then because somebody, but you are doing of the company. Now they have increased minimum wage now. Let's see how far your life will go. Let's see how far. Because many times we don't realize that our expectations need to be well managed so that we will not become victims. Well, let me close with this. 4 things you must learn to say as we close. 4 things you must learn to say. Number 1, sorry. Sorry. Learn to say sorry. A lot of people can't even say sorry. Sorry cannot come out of their mouth. It's as if when they say sorry, they will die. As if that sorry will kill them. Just say sorry, and they just die. No, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. See, in fact, I don't know. There's a song, my song, used to say, there are 5 magic, whatever. Yeah, I think it's this one too. Thank you, please. So there's a way they turn it into a song. So number 1 is song. Number 2 is please. Oh, please, can I have that? Oh, can you please help me with that? Can you please just be a good person? Because, I don't know, but you see, when you relate with some Christians and you see their attitude, their character, their lifestyle, you'll be wondering, say, who trained these people? Is it that there's no more home training? Talk about your training, train. Even if you come from a village that your father, mother didn't train you, can't you retrain yourself? What is now the purpose of all the church you are going through that you have no manners, you are not cultured, and you are in church? Some people, the only good thing about them is when you see them from afar. When you get close to them, you see how nasty they are. You see how rude they are. You see how uncouth they are. You see how unexposed and uncivilized they are. You see how... Number 3, thanks. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's all. Thank you. If every Christian in this country or every Christian in this world will be Christian indeed and be Christ-like, we won't have many of the problem we have. So number 1 is sorry. Number 2 is please. Number 3 is thanks. Number 4 is excuse me. Oh, excuse me, please. Excuse me. Have you ever wondered? You'll be talking with somebody will just butt in. Hey, Brother John, why do you... Until they begin to shut you. Somebody is talking to somebody, you just come and say, hey, Brother John, so if the person, excuse me, please, we're talking. You need to ask her. You will now say the person is very difficult. Hey, that size very difficult. That size very... You are the rude one. You don't just enter and butt into people's discussion without taking permission and asking excuse before you talk. Well, let's wrap up part 1. Lift up your voice and give him thanks. Let's give him all the glory and honor.
The floor is open.
testing.